Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to Ryan's Trains. I hope you guys had an amazing Memorial Day and amazing weekend. Today's review we're going to be doing is this Lionel New York Central 080 switch engine. The first engine that I ever got into the O-scale hobby. So this engine is going to be a very amazing review, so I hope you guys enjoy. Let's get on to this video. So here's the history on an 080 switch engine. But first, let me give you why it's called an 080. So there's zero trailing wheels and zero leading wheels, and it's only got 8 drive wheels. That's why it's originally called an 080 switch engine. So here's the more history on the 080. The examples of an 080 wheel arrangement were constructed both as a tender and a tank locomotive. The earliest locomotives were built for mainline haulage, partially as a freight train. The original configuration, but later on was often used as a large switch engine. The wheel arrangement provides a powerful layout with the engine's weight, in which maximizes the track effort and a factory design. The layout, which generally was too large for smaller light railways, were popular with the 060 wheel arrangement, but were often performing smaller duties. So the 080 engines, you can still find them around in museums, and they're still running in for tourist railroads because they're pretty easy to restore to get them running again. So now let's go on to the history of the New York Central Railroad. The New York Central Railroad, reporting mark the NYC, was a railroad primarily operated in the Great Lakes Midwest regions in the United States. The railroad primarily connected with greater of the New York and Boston in the east of Chicago and to St. Louis in the Midwest, along with intermediate cities of Albany, Buffalo, Cleveland, Connecticut, Detroit, Rochester, and New York. Central was the headquarters in New York Central's building, adjacent to the largest station, Grand Central Terminal. The railroad established itself in 1853, consolidating several existing railroad companies. In 1968, the New York Central emerged with its former rival, the Pennsylvania Railroad, to form Penn Central. Penn Central went bankrupt in 1970 and merged with Conrail in 1976. Conrail was broken up in 1999, with portions of its system being transferred to CSX and Norfolk Southern. CSX acquired all the old New York Central trackage and extensive trackages in the state of New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, Indiana, Illinois, Massachusetts, and West Virginia, plus additional trackage in Canada, provinces of Ontario, southwesterns of the eastern Ontario, Quebec, and South Montreal. At the end of 1925, the New York Central operated 11,843 miles, and it just gives us a lot of more trackage in miles. But we're going to give the history about this engine. During the year of Christmas, my dad got me this 080 set that is the New York Central Pacemaker Flyer set. And this engine, if you can see in the details of the locomotive, that there is some scuffs on it because this engine's been through hell and back with me ever since I was a kid. But now since I'm much older, I have been taking care of these engines in other models I got. The smoke unit's burned out in the locomotive, but this engine is a husky little hauler. When I took it out of the cabinet with the other engines, this engine was pretty dusty, and I cleaned her all up. I cleaned all the side rods because it was just pretty oily, and I cleaned everything up to make the engine look nice. And I'll probably be getting a display case for this engine to sit there in a display case. I'll bring it run around for a few times, but the engine's very nice, a good sounding runner, and just an amazing little 080 switch engine. I'll think of getting one of these in Legacy if Lionel comes out with new Legacy 080s. We'll have to see when their new catalog comes out, but I hope that there'll be some interesting 080s that'll be coming out, like something that's like in my railroad that I like, or something that's unique, if you know what I mean. But let's now cut on to the details of the locomotive. So let's now go into the details of this 080 switch engine. There's not a lot of the engine's not like legacy standards. This is the O gauge model, And what O gauge, I'll give you a little what O gauge is in O scale. O gauge is basically the smaller rendition of O scale, basically not cheap, but very affordable price for an O gauge and an O scale. So it's kind of like out of scale a bit. But we got separately applied dynamo unit, safety pop-off valves, separately applied handrails in the front, a detailed boiler right here that says New York Central, a headlamp above here, and a coupler cup bar right here. Well, a coupler, I mean, that if you, it's kind of finicky, but if you open that, the coupler opens up, and some detailed side rods, two crew figures in here, and a lot of detail for the tender, plastic coal load of speakers in there, and the other side's the same. So that's how much detail that is on this engine, but the one thing I like to point out is the side rods on here. I really like how these side rods were made when Lionel did these. They're just really cool and it really speaks business with this engine. So let's now cut on to the freight cars of this set with this 080 switch engine. Coming with this set, we got this New York Central wooden caboose that is for a crane, in which is kind of weird for Lionel to put this caboose in this set. And right here we got a gondola set, which comes with barrels over there. And if you could see all the way down there, there's barrels down there that comes with it. And right here we got this flat car, which would have a helicopter on it. And you'll wind that up and you press the lever and a helicopter goes in the air, which the helicopter is missing. And right here we just got this New York Central box car that comes with helicopter parts on it. And that is pretty cool with the set, and I'll show you guys the box. And this set comes in the biggest box you ever seen. Just look at this. I just love Lionel boxes these days that like has like a set like this. I'm thinking when their new catalog comes out, I'll see if they got any interesting sets I'll buy. That's with the engine and a few cars. So let's now cut on to the running session of this amazing New York Central 080 steam engine.
Dispatcher here. You're cleared onto the main. Over. Understood. I'm taking the green. Out.
Well, thank you guys for watching this amazing video of this New York Central 080 switch engine. In a couple of shots, you've seen the engine shed behind me where the switch tracks are removed because the Lionel remote switch, if you know what I mean, like the 072 switch, it jammed and it's getting fixed. And I had to open the main line somehow, and I had to took out the two switches for the tracks to be open to make this video possible. But don't worry, I'll be posting that up on the community page, what happened. But I ordered a replacement switch for on trains.com. So I'll be giving you a community post on what happened. But I hope you guys enjoyed this amazing review of the New York Central 080 switch engine, and have an amazing weekend, an amazing Friday. Take care and stay safe out there. I'll see you guys next time.